Okay, we all seem to be present and correct. It is 5:01 p.m. on Tuesday, May 18th, and I'm going to call the Easton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting to order. And the first thing that I would like to do is ask the board if they would like to take agenda item number 7 first, which is the reorganization of the positions for the Board of Commissioners. Your view on that, Chrisanne Sheedy?
I'll make a motion that we take agenda item number 7 out of order and do the reorganization first.
I'll second that, but we should do a roll call just to, for the record that we're here. Open the meeting.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I forgot to do that. Thank you, Tom. The roll call for the people present at the meeting, Don Burrows, I'm sorry. I apologize, Don.
Yeah.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Here.
Tom Tebow,
Here.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yeah.
and absent-minded Chair Pam Widdop is here, and Commissioner, Executive Director Kathy Steiger is present. Also, let the records show that the meeting is being conducted by GoToVirtualMeeting and is being recorded by Easton Community Access Cable Television. And we have one resident guest. So now we will take the motion by Chrisanne Sheedy and a second by Tom Tebow to take the agenda item number 7, which is the reorganization of the Housing Authority Board and also the appointment of the Community Preservation Act Committee. Is that right? The town appointment and the election results. That's agenda item number 7. We'll take that first. Chrisanne, we've got a motion by Chrisanne, a second by Tom. I'll do a roll call. Dennis Sheedy?
Yes.
And let's see, Don Burrows?
Yeah.
And Tom Tebow?
Yes.
And Chrisanne Sheedy?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, so that's unanimous. Okay. So I guess we'll start with who would like, is there anyone interested in any of the
I'll make a
position?
motion. I'll make a motion to elect Pam Widdop to nominate Pam Widdop as chair.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to appoint Pam Widdop as the chair. I accept that nomination. I guess we will do a roll call for that. Should we do a roll call for all of these positions?
Yes.
Okay, roll call, yes or no vote is Chrisanne Sheedy
Yes.
and Dennis Sheedy
Yes.
and Don Burrows
Yes.
and Tom Tebow.
Yes.
And I accept, and I'm not going to vote, but I'll accept. So it's unanimous in the sense that there's 4 votes. Okay, the next position, I guess, would be the vice chair.
I'll make a nomination that Chrisanne Sheedy is the vice chair.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. And do you have any objections to that, Chrisanne?
No.
No objections, thank you. I couldn't tell by your smile.
Is that what that is?
So we have a motion, a nomination by Dennis Sheedy to appoint Chrisanne Sheedy as the vice chair of the Board of Commissioners, and it is seconded by Tom Tebow. Roll call vote, Don Burrows, yes or no? I'm sorry? Don, yes or no for, yeah, did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna turn up my volume a little. Commissioner Tebow
Yes,
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy
Yes, yes.
and Commissioner, well, myself, I'm voting yes, and I assume Chrisanne Sheedy, if you want to vote.
Oh, sure. Let's
Okay.
make it unanimous.
Okay, unanimous, 5 votes. Okay, the next position, I believe, is treasurer. Is that correct, Kathy?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do I have any volunteers?
Who
I'll
is the
make a
current-
nomination that Don Burrows is nominated for for treasurer.
I'll second that motion.
Don, do you accept that nomination?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy, do you, yes or no for Don Burrows as
Yes.
the, okay?
Yes.
And Commissioner Dennis Sheedy
Yes.
and Commissioner Tebow
Yes,
and myself, I vote yes. And Don, would you like to register a vote for yourself as the treasurer?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so it's, okay, unanimous.
Can I ask
And-
who seconded the motion, please?
Tom Tebow, I believe.
Thank you.
I think it was, wasn't it?
yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
so far it's been Dennis making the nomination and Tom Tebow seconding.
Thank
So
you.
far, all 3 of them. I wasn't prepared for this, Kathy. I didn't have a sheet all written up. Okay, so the, and it's just, I want to make note here that Commissioner Tom Tebow is the state appointee. We do have one more position, is that right, Kathy, or 2?
Yes, the assistant treasurer.
The assistant treasurer, okay, thanks. So, we have a nomination for that position?
I'll make a motion that Dennis Sheedy be the assistant treasurer. I gave you a couple seconds there, Dennis.
Yeah, I know you did, but I was trying to be nice.
I'll second that motion if I'm allowed as the chair.
Yep.
Am I allowed? I don't think I'm allowed. I'm sorry.
Yes, you are.
Yep.
I need a second. I have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow to appoint Dennis Sheedy as the assistant treasurer. May I have a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. We have a second, motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy to appoint Dennis Sheedy as the assistant treasurer. Roll call vote, Tom Tebow,
Yes,
Don Burrows,
Yes.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes, and I'm gonna come right back. I just gotta go grab a charger, so
Okay.
you won't see me for a minute.
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy.
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's unanimous 5 votes. For Dennis Sheedy as the assistant treasurer. Have you got all that, Kathy? I'm sorry.
I was
I-
writing feverishly.
Yes, and I was stumbling over it. I apologize.
Thank you.
Could I just ask a question? On the, actually, it's to you, Tom, on the state appointee. It says you're expired. Does that just carry over? Is that how that works?
it does carry over. If you remember when my predecessor was never in his session. But I went and checked my records. It seems as though they have the wrong date. They have the wrong address. I don't live next door to you.
No, that's actually my address. You're in my basement. I'm gonna talk about the rent when we're done here.
So we got that, and I went through my records and I could not find the letter from, on the appointment. I thought it was more like 2020, which would mean I would still be out of
Thank you. I was just curious. It's just, yeah, and they have you living in my house and I'm living next door with my wife, so keep the noise down.
Keep the noise down. I'm sorry.
So did you give Tom the bill for the rent?
Yeah, we'll discuss that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that we've covered that part of agenda item number 7, the reorganization of the Easton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. So there are 2 other items involved there. Kathy, do you want to take it from here?
We need an appointment to the Community Preservation Committee. One of the committee members needs to be a board member of the Easton Housing Authority Board. Dennis has been so for many, many years. Just saying.
Dennis, I'll ask sincerely, would you be willing to continue, or
Yes, I'll continue. Right now, I have a year left on this board, so we'll see what happens when that's up, and I'll fulfill, with the board's approval, I would carry on with the CPC.
yeah, I'll say it, I think I said it last time. I'm associated with quite a few and know quite a few housing authorities. The Easton CPC, CPA has supported the housing authority. They've been very generous, and I think that's because of all the work that Commissioner Sheedy has done on that board in explaining our mission and how important it is. So I think you've served us very, very, very well there, Dennis.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank you for accepting that position, Dennis. And I would like to underscore what Commissioner Tebow stated about how you've been very effective at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll need a motion and a second on that.
I will
I'll make a
motion to
Go on.
nominate Dennis Sheedy as CPC representative of the Board of the Easton Housing Authority.
I will second that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. So we have a motion by Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow for Dennis Sheedy to be the Easton Housing Authority representative appointed to the Community Preservation Act Committee on the town of Easton. Roll call vote would be, let's see, we'll start with Chrisanne Sheedy
Yes.
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
and Chair Widdop votes yes, so that's unanimous. Thank you very much for that. And I guess the last item on this agenda is the town election results. Kathy, is there anything that you need to report on that, or is that just a document for our information?
Let them know, the board needs to know that you were voted to continue on the Easton Housing Authority Board effective April 21st of 2021. And you took your oath on April 26th of 2021, and the expiration of your term on the board will be April 28th of 2026. Congratulations, Pam.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Pam.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to work on this board. I'm honored to be working with people that are intelligent, dedicated, and really care. They have a genuine concern. And I want to apologize about the address listing, Kathy. It's the way my move to the Housing Authority fell on the calendar, and my nomination, not nomination, the signatures that I needed to get to be put on the ballot, that it kind of blended together. So I couldn't change my address because I had already filed my petition papers to get the signatures with my old address. So there was some confusion with the town clerk, and I apologize about that, but that has been since corrected.
So we know you're at 5 Hermosa Drive.
Everybody's there.
Did we send her a bill yet too?
I promise I'll keep my music down.
Yeah.
Who's gonna take care of the dog?
There should be a pet deposit fee for the cat, though. He's very rowdy.
Yes, isn't he rowdy? He's very noisy.
Yeah, I know Jack's gonna like the cat.
So I think we're all set with agenda item number 7, unless there's any other questions or comments.
Pam, I just had one question when you were sworn in. You just called town hall and they made the arrangements for you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I did it. Actually, what happened was it was by email, and town clerk Daniel Sicard was kind enough to send me an email and let me know, and ask me when would be a good time to make a phone call to be sworn in. And I said, anytime after now. And I got a call within 5 minutes. It went fast and easy.
Okay, thank you.
Keep an eye on your emails, because Daniel Sicard will be contacting you, town clerk Sicard. Okay, let's get into the business at hand here. The agenda item number, formerly 1, but now 2, is the minutes for the March 16th Board of Commissioners.
I will make a motion that we approve the minutes for the March 16th meeting of the Easton Housing Authority.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Christiane Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy to review and approve minutes of the March 16th Board of Commissioners meeting. Is there any, open up for discussion?
All set, thanks.
I should put one of my gold stars on here. I have no red or yellow marks. Okay, hearing no questions or discussions on the minutes for the March 16th Board of Commissioners meeting, I'll do a roll call vote, yes or no, for approval of these minutes. Commissioner Christiane Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow.
Yes.
And Chair Whittup votes yes, so it's unanimous, and the minutes are approved as typed and presented. The next agenda item is the accountant's compilation of the financial statements for the quarter ended March 31st, 2021, and also the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2021.
I had a couple questions.
Certainly.
Go right ahead.
So on the Section 8 program, we've got a payable to revolving for 92,000. Do we usually do those to the end of the fiscal year, or when are they?
Typically, I would for Dan to tell me when to transfer funds. For instance, he just actually texted me this week to transfer funds. So he usually works it up with what's owed to the revolving and tells me, typically quarterly, sometimes sooner than not, sometimes he doesn't. So I usually work off of what Dan advises me to transfer in.
Okay. So that's done then, basically.
Yes, yes, it has been.
So are these,
All
but
right.
these are the records that were sent to, Well, they don't get sent to, then they will get sent to HUD through the FAS program or whatever. I know it's been an issue at one time that we had that accounts payable, that they want you to settle up at the end of the year. They want you to settle up on a monthly basis, to be quite honest with you. But,
Right, yeah. We typically do it quarterly, I would say.
Yeah, okay, so you're probably right, when, it'll be done by the time it gets into the Fed system.
Yes.
And I was a little curious as to the administrative expense on section 8 is at 21,000 when it was budgeted at 11. So I was kind of curious. That just seemed like that was kind of high. Didn't know if there was something in there that
It was only
explained that, or is that for Jamie Berryman or?
On the administrative? Which one are you looking at, Chris? I'm sorry.
So on the statement of operating receipts and expenditures. And it's under administrative.
Sundry administrative.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, that would be expenses for having the consultant come in and help us out with the program.
So that's predominantly consultant then.
Yes,
And was that more than usual? Is
yes.
that something? Okay.
And it will be a little higher. We're changing roles again. Coming in a little less often, but she typically does the CMAP, and she's been coming in on a pretty regular basis to go over files, to make sure everything's accurate in them.
And I'll just finish. I'm going to keep going with my stuff, and then anybody else who wants to chime in. So then we had on the balance sheet for 400-1 prepaid tenants for 11,000. I just know when I had an AUP, they found that anything that was a credit balance should be actually outlined to the board to explain any kind of credit that's existing, because it's a potential fraudulent possibility.
Really?
We're supposed to technically know if there's credits out there. You don't have to be giving names or anything, but just say, there's so much at this site, and you can just maybe explain that it's like, oh, it was a rent redetermination and they had a credit balance that they're working off paying, not paying their rent for a few months until they pay it down. We also have retirees that pay their dental insurance like a year in advance. So that shows up as a credit. But AUP made me break that all down every month for my board to see exactly what makes up those credits.
I'll be honest with you,
Fraudulent.
I don't know the answer to that question, and I just had an AUP, and nobody has ever asked me about that.
Yeah, it was kind of new to me, but I've been doing it for a couple of years now, actually.
Who did your AUP, Chris Ann?
Initially, that was with Mike Geider, and then it turned into Markham. But it was Geider and Hurley that brought that up. I want to say going on 3 years ago.
Yeah, Geider and Hurley brought it up in Abington. They did not want the breakdown, but they wanted it to be reconciled.
Okay. I will look into that and have an answer for you at the next meeting, Chris.
Okay, and then my last piece, I do believe, is that we're short subsidy. What's up with that?
It has to do with we earned more rent than we had anticipated, and our net metering credits. See, from our operating reserve, we're pretty high. We're at 97.1%, and that's with $75,000 of restricted funding, if we can get by that. Dan Robillard, the fee accountant, is basically saying we need to spend some more money. We did spend quite a bit down, but most of it has to do with the net metering. So we didn't earn as much subsidy. We need to spend the money in order to earn the subsidy this year, and hopefully it will get approved by DHCD.
Because I thought a lot of our subsidy came around the septic system and the treatment plant.
No, we don't get any subsidy for that anymore.
Well, I thought that's what pushed our operating expenditures up so high that we ended up having to be subsidized.
Oh, it may have been in the past. I wasn't sure. That would have been before my tenure. Probably. You were probably correct with that. We're doing very well with the net metering credits, and that's what's earned us to get to the reserve level we're at now.
Okay, I think I'm done. Sorry.
No apology needed.
Oh, actually, there were two other things.
Go right
Sorry.
ahead. Tom's still
Once
checking
again.
the pages, so.
So, yeah, I see we still got 20,000 left in COVID money.
Yeah, but we still were using the cleaning company, Armstrong.
Sorry, Armstrong.
Yeah, to do cleaning, and for the most part, we broke most of it down pretty well. Truthfully, we spent really all we could. We got a lot of donations as far as masks and gloves, and got all
I
sorts
just
of
thought
new
they were looking for that to be expended by the end of December.
Well, you're going to have to keep Larry on till at least June 30th, from what I was reading in the, what do they call it? The notice 2021-07 public housing notice.
Mhm. No, we wouldn't have to keep Larry on. We actually just told Larry, I think we're pretty good with him for now.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we're going to do the same thing.
Yeah,
you're not
Just
going to
did-
keep him on till June 30th?
no,
Oh,
No.
okay.
yeah, we actually just told him this week.
There's that problem with shall and should that I was talking about before the meeting, Kathy.
Yes,
The way they wrote this.
I know.
Legal speak.
Yes,
was
and
written
I'm a
before the-
person who's got a fetish for semantics.
Yeah, it was written before the governor's announcement yesterday too, so, you know, just like we started this out back in 2020, where they kept giving us advice and guidance every week that changed from week to week, you're seeing that it's speeding along, and we're opening up a lot quicker than expected. And I'm praying they're right about it, and I'm enthusiastic about it, but
A little
I don't-
leery.
little leery, you know what, and that's anybody is fine to be leery. I don't, you know, people can continue to wear masks in places and that, and we'll have to make some own rules, like, you know, about how people come into your office. I know we're thinking about it at the Brockton party, but it's up to us on what, you know, it's not mandated, it's what you think is best.
Mhm.
Yes, that was clearly written in that
Clear
publication.
as mud, it's all as clear as mud.
And the one last little thing I had was under expendable equipment. There's never an allocation for appliances, but it seems like, yeah, we're spending $3,500 on appliances. So I know that Dan kind of likes to leave those and just fill them in as they're spent down or they're allocated to specific things. But I don't know, I just think appliances is just basically pretty standard. So it just was curious why you wouldn't just have that as a line item.
Well, we don't go through a lot of appliances, I'll be honest with you. We received 14 refrigerators. I believe it was 14. It's been a little while from Attleboro Housing Authority that they couldn't use for a job that fit. So we have all those refrigerators brand new in stock that we've had. So we haven't had to buy any. And stoves, that's a rarity that one fails. So we really haven't had many appliances go at all. So he puts it in there, like you said, and he allocates it later.
Okay.
Is there any more questions or discussion on the accountant's compilation of the financial statements for the quarter ending and fiscal year ending March 31st? Now, hearing none, I believe I have to do a roll call vote to put this on file, to accept it and put it on file. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the
I'll
year.
make
We'll
end.
make a motion to accept it and put it on file.
Okay, thank you, Christian. And did I hear a second?
Second,
That was Tom?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, we do have a motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to accept and place on file the accountant's compilation financial statements for the quarter ending and fiscal year ending March 31st, 2021. Our roll call vote, Commissioner Christian Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Don Burrows,
yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Chair Whittup votes yes, so it is unanimous. Agenda item number 3 is, does have subsections, we'll call it A, B, and C. Lead paint, shall we take them individually and vote for them individually, Kathy?
Yes,
Okay, so
please.
agenda item number 3, the first subsection is lead paint certification. Go ahead, Kathy.
We
you
did
have-
this at the February meeting, just so the board's aware, and I just wanted to redo it because that was my error and put the correct year-end date on here.
Okay. And so I will, so we have, did we get a motion? Did I hear a motion?
Yes, I made a motion to approve the lead paint certificate.
And I thought I heard a second too. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
I'll second that. I don't think there was a second.
Okay. And I guess I'll see you in the morning, Kathy, for the
Mhm.
signature? Okay,
Not tomorrow morning, I have a couple of meetings, perhaps Thursday morning PM, if that works.
that's fine. Send me an email in case my compadre here doesn't remind me.
Okay. I didn't
Thank
see him taking notes.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by Commissioner Christian Sheedy to accept the lead paint certification with the revision of the correct fiscal year ending March 31st, 2021. Roll call vote of those in favor, yes. Commissioner Christian Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow.
Yes.
And the chair Whittup votes yes, so it is unanimous for this revision. I'm gonna put that one up there. That will remind me, so Paul doesn't have to. Next agenda item number 4 is the April warrant in the amount of $215,805.11.
You're muted, Dennis.
Sam, we still have the other, the tenant's account receivable and the 5.
Yes,
No problem. That's my error. I should have done them individually.
Dennis, you're muted.
I forgot about agenda item number 3B, the tenant's accounts receivable. Sorry about that,
I'll make
folks.
a motion to approve the tenant's accounts receivable for fiscal year ending 3/31/21.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy and a second by, was it Tom Tebow?
Yes.
Okay, to accept the LHA tenants accounts receivable report for the fiscal year ending and March 31st, 2021. You have any discussion on this?
I have a question. Do we need to do any bad debt write-offs?
No, not at this time. We did some in October. That will be coming up again this October. We only have a minimal doubtful tabs, actually.
Okay.
And we're down. We actually shrunk. We're down for our year-to-date uncollected rent, down 2.73%, which is pretty impressive during the COVID that we went down.
You don't need on this motion, you don't need the actual amounts, do you?
No, I don't believe I do. This is just reporting to the department.
Yeah, I've
No.
never had to actually supply that, so that's interesting.
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
I never had to supply the tenant's account receivable for year end.
This is new.
Yeah,
Going to be graded in your AUP, although it's accepted this year. It's on the PMR, but it's new.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Tom. I
Yippee.
suspected that when I was going through the packet.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it, so I'm sure as we go through June and September ends and December ends, we'll all see it. But you're first, Kathy. Lucky you.
yeah. So exciting.
Okay, we have, if there's no further discussion on this new report, which has been presented by Executive Director Steiger for the board to review, I would like to do a roll call vote now. Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow.
Yes.
Okay, and Chair Whitup votes yes, so it is unanimous to approve the LHA tenant accounts receivable report for the quarter and fiscal year ending March 31st. Oh, that conflicts, doesn't it, Kathy? No, it doesn't. I beg your pardon. No, let me finish. For the quarter ending and the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2021. This is something new for 2021. And it's unanimous. Put that away. And the subsection item 3C is the top 5 compensation fiscal year end report.
I make a motion to approve the top 5 compensation report to DHCD.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by, was it Dennis Sheedy or Chrisanne Sheedy? Which?
One of us Sheedies, it doesn't matter.
Okay, we'll give Dennis Sheedy the credit for it. I did see him move and hear his voice. To approve the fiscal year end forms and certifications for the top 5 compensation for the fiscal year 2021. I'd like to open it for discussion or questions.
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go for a roll call vote to approve this agenda item number 3C. Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
and Chair Whitup votes yes, so it is unanimous to approve the fiscal year end for 2021 certification, the top 5 compensation form. Thank you. And now, former agenda item number 4, the warrant for April, $215,805.11.
I'll make a motion to approve the April warrant in the amount of $215,805.11.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Don Burrows to approve the April 2021 warrant for the Easton Housing Authority. Are there any questions or comments on this?
I had 2 questions, Kathy. One, the picnic benches, they're all the same price except for one. What happened there? I give you that's a awful.
A little break on one of them. They're all on sale for whatever reason, but
All right, it looks odd. And then the The inmate lunches, was that a lost invoice?
Yes, it was. They had it up at takeouts from back in October when they came out and did some work for us outside. And they just happened to mention to maintenance, hey, we still have some outstanding invoices. So I went up there and got them and we paid them.
Okay, that's all I have.
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay. Hearing no further questions or comments, I will request a roll call, yes or no vote to approve the April 2021 Easton Housing Authority warrant in the amount of $215,805.11. Commissioner Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow.
Yes.
And Chair Whittup votes yes, so it's unanimous. Moving along, we have this agenda item, formerly number 5, will be number 6, is the fiche number 088071, certificate of final completion on the April 28th of 2021. Completion of the roof replacement at Elise Circle by Almar LLC. And I'm going to read some facts from this sheet, just for the record. The original contract sum was $147,900. And at the March 16th meeting of the Board of Commissioners, we approved a change order for roof vents of $2,600. So the total of this contract, the adjusted sum, is $150,500. And the payments to date is $140,505, which leaves a balance due of $9,995. And we are now looking for a motion to approve this certificate of final completion.
I'll make a motion that the certificate of final completion be approved.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by Commissioner Chris Sheedy to approve fiche number 088071, certificate of final completion for roof replacements at Elise Circle. Is there any questions or comments about this?
So are we approving the $9,995 is that releasing retainage?
Yes, it is. And it's actually already up to the Affordable Housing Trust, I believe.
But so all the punch list items obviously are complete. So I don't know if you need a separate motion to include release or retainage for $9,995.
I know a normal course, it's when you approve the certificate of completion that releases the retainage.
Okay. So we'll just add a kind of a revision to my original presentation of this agenda item, that we are looking for a vote to approve the certificate of final completion and release the retainage, so that this $9,995 can be paid.
So moved.
So, okay. The vote, Commissioner Chris Sheedy
Yes.
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows
Yes.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow.
Yes.
And Commissioner Chair Whittup votes yes, so it's unanimous to approve the certificate of final completion on the roof replacement at Elise Circle and release the retainage to pay the $9,995. Next agenda item is agenda item number 6. The PHN report from Department of Housing and Community Development, also known as DHCD, regarding the guidance for reopening the LHAs, the housing authorities, relative to the COVID restrictions. I don't know if we need to vote it on any of this, but I guess if I printed it and drilled down, and there's a lot of interesting information here, Kathy, why don't I give the floor to you?
Okay, well, basically this notice went out the window with the governor's announcement yesterday, I believe. I wanted to get the board's take on what they felt comfortable with us doing. I feel pretty confident that we can open the office now, not necessarily have people coming into the office itself, but open it, the window, the main window for business. We are prepared for that. We have been doing that. People will knock on our window, knock on the door, and the girls will put a mask on, stand away from them and take care of business that way. Still deliberating whether to do in-person meetings, maybe out in the community room, but I didn't know if the board wanted us to open the community rooms at this point or hold off, or if we do open them, where DHCD wanted us to somewhat monitor them, do we open them only during office hours? I basically wanted to get the board's take on what they felt would be a good idea.
My opinion is that we are now turning over the responsibility for your health to the individual. And so that you should look to that, obviously, like opening up the community room, open it up. If for some reason you see things that shouldn't be happening, revisit that. Provide proper signage. People still should be, keeping their space, wearing masks if they are unvaccinated, that kind of stuff. And then from inside, I think you need to have a conversation with your employees about what they feel comfortable doing, knowing that we have to open up and start receiving the public. But that's we're going there, and we're going to monitor it on a daily basis. So we still have not issued any guidance as of today. So it's only 24 hours after the notice, because I don't quite understand where we're going. There's many things that you have to look at.
Agreed.
But that's how I feel. Again, keep your eyes and your ears open. But I do think we have to allow some freedom to our residents. And you have those picnic benches. Hopefully everybody's gathering and sitting up there and getting the fresh air.
This is true. That's part of the reason. The other issue too is it is still a prep site for the Meals on Wheels, the main Parker community room. So I'm a little leery to that. Maybe only open it for the afternoons in the beginning. I'd be cognizant of that person and having to prepare those meals as well and get them out the door and the drivers coming in to pick them up. So I just, I wanted the board to be, I know most of the directors and other housing staff on the board know about this, but I know that some other members didn't, and I wanted them to be aware that we are trying to figure it all out and go forward and try to get back to business as best we can.
Yeah, I really think it's going to take a lot. It's going to take thought. It's going to take discussion. It's going to take figuring out what's comfortable for people, and gradually, and not, I don't know if it has to be in full force all at once. I think slow and steady.
And what about
continue to look good?
What about the board meeting in June? Do we still want to hold off on that, or how does everybody feel about that?
I don't know if you can. That so we have to get some advice, and I'm sure either Narrow or DHCD will tell us whether the authority that allows us to meet this way goes away with the emergency order.
Okay.
I don't know that for a fact now. Okay. That's one of my questions also, but I know in Brockton, we read off the governor's order at the beginning of the meeting. So.
You what? I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
In Brockton, we read off the governor's order that tells us that we have the authority to meet remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's what I was.
Yeah.
I was just trying to find it in these 9 pages, because 4 hours ago I read that unless that changed too, you say there's been one that's updated from this one, that the housing authority, because I highlighted it, the local housing authority, here it is here, it's on page 7. LHA's, oh, I'm sorry, no, that's not it. we had our own discretion as to whether or not we were gonna have a public meeting at the community center or continue remotely for the month of June. That was at our own discretion, from what I read. Is that correct, Tom?
No. If that's what you
Oh.
read on that date, but Kathy told you, so that's out the window with what the governor said yesterday. So I guess, I mean, I don't think we have a lot to discuss here because you're going to hear it over the next couple days. I'm
Right.
sure if we ask the HCD, they're gonna say they're gonna be sending another one of these updated out, but I don't think we can answer that question. And if we assume that we can meet remotely, we can't, then anything we do is not a legitimate vote.
I know in Fairhaven, the board's been meeting in person and we've had the public participation remote. We've been doing that for months, so.
We just started that in Abington, but I think, Chris, that this governor's order, again, I don't know, it's very complicated. Remember, this emergency order that he had has layers upon layers upon layers. It started out March 12th, March 16th, and layered and layered and layered. Restaurants, outside, inside, hospitals. So it's got so many layers to it. And then one of them is this meeting. And I don't know where we stand on that. I think we need some real clear direction on it, which we'll probably be getting in the next couple of days. Dennis saw a message from me. We had some residents asking for some clarification. I said, yeah, when I have it, I'll give it to you. Because anything I give to you right now is just going to confuse you. I'll have to change it tomorrow.
Right. So it will yet to be determined, and I can keep Pam and Donald notified. Obviously, I know everybody else will kind of be in the loop with this, so I will be sure to let you guys know as we approach next month's meeting.
I
Yeah.
want to, I'm sorry, is there anyone else that has any questions?
Well, I know the residents I've been speaking to, they can't wait to be able to get into the use of that road. Yesterday would be too.
I think we lost you, John. You said something about yesterday.
Yes, no, I just in my discussion with the residents, very anxious to get on it.
Is there anyone else that's getting an echo?
Hmm?
Caller, would you please mute yourself? If you're on your phone, would you please press the mute button on your phone?
Can you mute them as the,
Kathy, can you mute them?
Kathy?
I don't think I can. Let me see.
Yep, all set. Sorry about that.
Okay, there. Now the echo is gone. Dawn, unmute yourself, please. And I wanted to ask Dawn a question. You said that the people were anxious. Is it that they're anxious to begin to congregate in the community center?
Yes, they just can't wait. I know everybody's anxious for that, but they've been they're all looking forward to. They really enjoy that, especially the mornings around the coffee pot and socializing. And they
Yeah,
really, they're looking forward to that. And I know they're understanding, but they, as the governor and all of these announcements come up that they're everything's opening up. They're expecting to. I guess for a miracle, they can get in there. So,
what I can tell you about the coffee in the morning and the pastries and stuff, Dawn, that's done by Old Colony Elder Services and Valerie Winters. There's no plan to start that back up right away at all.
yeah, but before that, before they started doing it, though, I listening to some of the residents that have been around here for quite a few years. They used to do that themselves there. They weren't dependent on that. They came in, they did their own coffee pot, and they had their own volunteers, and they brought pastries in or whatever. So they weren't dependent on that. That was before you came on, and I was even a resident here. So there's a lot of history there with that room. So I don't know
Right.
where Old Colony comes in, how they figure into that process, so.
Well, they are the Meals on Wheels site, and they are the provider that provides lunch there. Unfortunately, Valerie uses that kitchen every morning and has been to prepare those meals and to get them out to not only our residents, but, homebound seniors in town as well. So I don't see that happening very quickly.
I would disagree, Kathy. I think that they got a notice similar to the ones we got that said, get open by the 29th or 30th. They
I
have to
haven't
go.
seen that yet from Valerie.
They have, no, they're digesting it just as we are. But I think, I don't think the answer is no. I think the answer is we're in transition. We're trying to figure out how to do these things. But I have spoken to Old Colony Elder Services about opening up, about getting things done. And they're doing the same thing we are. We're trying to answer some of those questions. But they should be talking about it. I would not be happy if what you said is true, that they're just not thinking about it, because they do have they are required to serve a population. That's what the taxpayers' dollars are doing, and they need to figure out a way to get it and serve those people. So I just, that's my opinion, and I think we can do it both ways. Make sure that they're safe in that environment. And we have many, Meals on Wheels environments in the Housing Authority, ones that Dennis is building, and and also to be able to serve the population. So that's how I would look at it. Again, I don't think we have a lot of answers, and I think we can talk for a long time, but we're just at the wrong time. We're 24 hours away from a notice that I think bowled a lot of people over yesterday, right?
Right. Well, that's why I had said I don't think it's going to happen right away. I really don't. I don't think people are going to. I know that the provider isn't very thrilled about starting that right back up. So again, I think we have to talk to this. That's all what I was meaning was it's not going to happen immediately. It will hopefully happen sooner than not, but I don't think it's anything that's imminent.
Yeah, no, I understand that. My message to Old Colony is let's work together to get it open and get it going as quick as possible. There are, we're going to go through some things. You're going to have it. I don't know what your staff is. There's some staff who have no problem coming back, some who never want to come back ever again. And obviously, there's somewhere in between where we have to end up.
Our staff has been here, Tom. Just the immediate housing staff, we've been here, so they're all here. They've been back.
I know.
Could I just echo on what Dawn was saying as far as the residents being anxious and they've been isolated. They go home. I've heard Tom say this before. They go home, they're all alone. There's absolutely nobody there for them. It's been a long year and a half now it's going on. And anything we could do to supplement it, maybe you don't want them all in the community room, but can we get a couple boxes of Joe a couple days a week and put it in the gazebo for them or something like that? Help them along, help them through the transition, because it's going to keep the peace more than if they're going to start. They're going to want to get in there, and they're going to get in there. As soon as you turn your back, they're going in. So if we could deter them with another alternative, it might be advantageous. Just my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
See, Kathy, what you started, you asked for our opinion.
I'm never doing it again. Ever, ever, ever.
I'm waiting for Chrisanne. Unmute yourself, Chrisanne. I'm waiting for your comment before I say something, Chrisanne.
No, I was just going to say, record that in the minutes, please.
Let there be made note in the minutes that Executive Director Steiger said she's never going to ask our opinion again. Not. Do you have any comment about the opening of the community center, Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy?
Like I was saying, I just think we need to start diving in a little bit. We need to take it a little slowly. We need to kind of watch what's going on. I will say, very interesting. I was in court today. I walked into the courthouse. They took my temperature. And then the court officer asked me if I was vaccinated. I thought that was pretty interesting. And I have no problem telling somebody I'm vaccinated, but I was like, how are you getting away with doing that? And is that like, because of course that's still one of my major questions and concerns. I'm still trying to figure out how many folks in my authority, we know from our list of running the clinic who took advantage of that, but we don't know exactly who went elsewhere and got it taken care of. So it's like, I just would love some better numbers. And I just don't think we're going to be able to get that information, but I just found it very interesting that the court officer asked me if I was vaccinated.
It is.
Did he ask you for your card?
No, didn't ask me for that. Just had the thermometer at my head. And are you vaccinated? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not, do I get to leave and not have to sit here for 3 hours? Okay.
I would like to see the community room open. Speaking as a resident of the Easton Housing Authority, I would like to see the community room open with restrictions, signs saying 6-foot distancing and face masks are strongly, because as it said in here, it said face masks were strongly recommended. But because when I go over there for the laundry, the community center has a place where I can sit, even if I want to be a hermit and go in one of the corner tables and sit by myself and read a book. At least I can sit inside rather than in my car or outside and get eaten by mayflies. I'm a target for mosquitoes and mayflies. But on the other hand, now speaking as a commissioner for the Easton Housing Authority, I'm very concerned when I was reading this, which is now useless, 9 pages of information, which I want to tear up right now, but I'm very concerned for our staff, the Housing Authority staff. I know that Kathy and Dawn and Jane and Donna they work hard, long hours. I don't ever see them sitting around. They are working all the time. Likewise with, now that I'm living here and I see what the maintenance people, Dan Andrews and Derek House, God bless Derek House with the pollen right now, and he's out there keeping that lawn mowed, and he's out there at least 3 days a week on that lawnmower. God bless him. I see him and I think that poor man breathing in that pollen, although he's been wearing his mask mostly. And I believe that our staff does a bang up job and they all work very hard. And this open the floodgates opening, I'm objected to it. And I'm going to write a letter to the governor if that's what's happening. I'm speaking as a commissioner now.
Thank you, Pam.
I think Commissioner Chris Ansheedy had it right. Slow opening, with the guidance isn't useless, but they've kicked the door open and said you cannot mandate things. So to your question, Chris, if you said it's none of your business, I think that would have been the end of the conversation on the vaccine, right? At least now. That might change. That might change in the future. Who knows?
Well, and I just want to remind everybody, when this whole thing started, the department was nowhere to be found for weeks. And we all had to figure it out, and we did. And I think it's the same thing. We have to do what works for our authority. And you have to do what works for the staff, for the tenants. And, the DHCD will give you guidance, and half the time, they haven't thought it through. They retract it. It's wrong. I think we all did a bang up job. Housing authorities did really well through COVID. And I don't think we're going to take a misstep at this point.
Thank you, Commissioner Chris Ansheedy and Commissioner Tom Tebow. Both of you get gold stars tonight. Okay. Is there any other discussion about this well, Kathy, let's put the floor to you. You asked for our opinion.
Not anymore.
Okay, so we will, unless there's no need for any vote either, is there?
No. I wanted the board to be aware, and I wanted to open up for some discussion, so I had some input from the board. again, I'm sure there's gonna be more guidance getting released over the next few days, weeks, and we'll take it a step at a time.
This would be my final recommendation here. Kathy, there's a SMITA meeting tomorrow. And I'm sure there will be lots of discussion there, and there will be follow-up discussion. That's SMITA, Southeastern Mass Executive Directors Association. And I believe, Chris, are you a board member on that?
I am.
No,
Oh, you are, Kathy. I didn't want to be there. So that's where the people who work in the industry will talk about what's happening, what they've experienced, where they've made mistakes, what's working. And I think that's what we'll do. As a group, we'll work through it.
Absolutely.
Dawn, do you have any further comments or discussions on this?
Oh, I'm fine. Everything's been covered.
Thank you very much for letting us know how the general residential public feels. I see Don out there walking, so he's kind of like, I'm sure people have stopped you.
That's for
Okay,
sure.
so now we're going to move on to agenda item number 8, formerly 8. The Juneteenth state holiday signed into law by Governor Baker in July of 2020.
This is a new holiday, and I didn't know if this is something the board wants to approve or to not approve. I know in accordance with the personnel policy, it does say any day that may be declared a holiday by the governor of Massachusetts. Governor Baker did, July of 2020, make this a state holiday, and I didn't know how the board was feeling on this or how they wanted to proceed.
I would say that the personnel policy is pretty clear that it's a day off for you. I don't know, is this a yearly thing now? Is this, or is it just this year? I'm not sure on that, but.
It's yearly. It's a permanent holiday. So I would say, it says it's a little oddly worded. It's at your discretion, Kathy, but it is a state holiday and will remain a state holiday unless repealed. I have no problem with the housing authority. So that's the way I see it, right? It's you'll have 4 days to get 5 days worth of work done, right? You get the day off. That's right.
The only consolation is that you'll have a paid holiday if we vote to approve it. And I would like to say there are apparently several states that have been doing this for a number of years already.
I would like to make a motion that we keep with what's typically holidays that are offered to housing authority employees. Pretty much every authority, I mean, every holiday other than Suffolk County holidays are available. So I'd like to stay with that and allow the employees to have Juneteenth as a holiday.
I second that.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Chris Anschidi and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to approve the Juneteenth holiday as a state holiday for our staff as indicated in the page 6. I'll read just the paragraph on page 6 of the employees manual. There are 11 holidays, that's paraphrasing. And then the paragraph says, additionally, at the discretion of the executive director, Good Friday, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve shall be half days with the office closing at 12:30 p.m. Also, any day that may be declared a holiday by the governor of Massachusetts. In this case, Juneteenth has been declared a holiday by the governor of Massachusetts last year in July of 2020.
I'd just like it to be known that this did not have to come to the board. This is at the discretion of the executive director. So Kathy, you could have done this. In fact, I don't think the board could go against your discretion if you said you wanted to do something else. We've already approved a policy that gives you the discretion. And my honest opinion is if you did not allow it to be given, you'd have to argue for why you weren't doing it. And I don't think you
Okay.
have a good argument, but that's an opinion. I don't think we have to take you're asking us to ratify something that you have the discretion on, right? We already approved this policy.
Okay.
Am I reading that?
Yes, that's right. Absolutely right. Yes.
Okay.
So you be the hero, Kathy.
Okay. Yes, I will take one for the team.
But I do,
So-
again, I think the philosophy behind it, you would have to, the governor has said it's a holiday for many reasons. If you look at the declaration, it's a very, and you would have to say, no, it's so important that we show up to work that day. We're not going to recognize a holiday that the governor thinks is important for the state. You could do it, but I don't know how you would do it at this time.
Yeah, no.
And this year, it's the 19th of June, but I suppose if it's at the discretion of the executive director to decide whether the office is going to be open or closed. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, it would be a holiday, so the office would be closed. And where it falls on, I believe, a Saturday this year, the office would be closed on the Friday prior to it.
It covers it in the next paragraph.
Okay, so then there will be there's no vote needed by the board. Okay. So that motion that I just recited, we are tabling that, which means it's. I'm
I'll
not sure.
retract it if you want.
Okay.
I mean, the board can say we support the executive director and her discretion in her decision. And I do completely. I think I know Commissioner Chris Anschidi does. I just don't think. I'm speaking as an executive director now. Don't give up discretion you have to the board that you don't have to.
I have such a good board, I don't mind.
I understand.
Okay, so I think this topic, agenda item for Juneteenth state holiday, is there any further discussion or questions? Okay, we're going to move on then to the executive director's report. Does anyone have any questions for the executive director, or maybe the executive director would like to make some comments?
Kathy, could I ask on the ramps, you say that some like them and some don't. What would be the deterrent that they're not liking?
Well, some people don't like them because the dogs don't like to walk down the ramps because they're metal ramps. And then we did get one complaint that they're going to be icy and very dangerous in the winter. And they shouldn't be because, again, they have holes through them that allows for melting and whatnot. It's better than the plywood rotting ramps that we had out there, and we had to do something. Quite honestly, these units that have ramps were put in old school, just a piece of plywood and a rail that are falling apart, and these aren't typically handicap accessible units. The handicap accessible units with the wheelchair units in them do have ramps, but these do not. So we needed to spend down some of the money, and we found these ADA compliant ramps, and they were installed for that price. And I think they're doing a good job, and hopefully people will get used to them. They're better than the plywood ones that were getting hornet's nest under them. There was.
Yeah, I would think the plywood would be more slippery than anything.
The plywood in my building was sagging. The first time I walked on it, I almost lost my balance.
I think we kind of lost Kathy. She's frozen now.
Kathy's frozen, yeah.
Oh
So
dear.
that's the end of the executive director's report.
Kathy, come back to us. Oh, she's gone out and is coming all the way back in.
Actually, I've heard pros and cons on the ramp. The one that was the most concerning to me was when they discussed the width of the ramp in itself, and those that need assistance with their walking. In other words, if they have walkers or whatever, they really have an issue in accessing the ramp, opening the door, and then opening and closing that damn door with the width of the ramp as it was. The wooden ramps weren't ideal, certainly, but they allowed the width so one could walk up the ramp, open the door, go in, and close the door behind them. With the width of these ramps, because they're just significantly narrower. Other than that, I've heard, I've had a lot of people say that, residents say that it is an upgrade over what they had. So there's some that are pleased, and there's others that were less than ideal. But that one was the most concerning to me, was the width of the ramp, and just being able to open and close that door.
If I could add to,
those are the comments I had. So
if I could add to Commissioner Burrow's comment, as a resident rather than a commissioner, and a large-sized woman who uses a cane in one hand and pulls a cart for my groceries or laundry in the other. That was my problem with the new ramp, is the width, is figuring out. I used to be able to get up the ramp pulling my cart and then pull the cart around me to help hold the door open while I went over the threshold into the door. And now it's a lot more difficult because of the width of the ramp. I realize what Dawn, so I kind of agree with what Dawn is saying about the width of the ramp. I couldn't help but wonder if maybe looking at the cost of the ramps, maybe the wider ones didn't fit into that money that we had to spend. I don't know. I would have to ask Executive Director Steiger or whoever did the purchasing of the ramp.
Speaking of Director Steiger, she's on my cell phone, and she's speakering in, and I'm going to let her explain what's going on with her Wi-Fi.
Can everybody hear me?
yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I lost Wi-Fi in the office. We had some issues earlier today with it, and it just cut out, and I can't get back in. So that's why I'm calling in. But I did hear Chairman Whitup speaking of the ramps. Those are ADA compliant ramps. They are the width that they need to be. And again, we couldn't even get plywood right now to try to replace broken ramps. So hopefully everybody will get used to them and adapt with them with any luck.
Did they have wider ramps, Kathy?
Not to my knowledge. Those are what they said were ADA compliant ramps.
Yeah. I figured they would have cost double or triple what you paid for the ramps that you have now. I don't have a complaint about them. I just have an adjustment to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You can be compliant, but that doesn't necessarily solve the problem of accessing the entranceway either. So I'm not, it is difficult for not all, but some of the residents. The bottom line is it is definitely an upgrade, and I think that the majority of the residents I spoke to are pleased with the ramps. But that one instance was, was concerning to me that, people have trouble going in the door, so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the ramp now
Experience
needs
often when we upgrade to ADA compliant, adaptive things, that the people who are using them will have these complaints. We've had them, I think, in your building, Dennis. We remodeled some apartments, and the people in the wheelchairs want to go into the new ADA compliant apartments because it made the living room so small. So you have people making rules that aren't on the site, and oftentimes you have, I guess, unintended consequences. But the housing authority doesn't have much of a choice. We're not compliant, then we are fined for not being compliant.
And Commissioner Chris Sheedy, you were saying?
I just was asking if the ramps went right to the door, because sometimes maybe you have to, and this would be, of course, down the road, but maybe some sort of a little build-out platform so that the door can open, is a little area to maneuver before you're onto the ramp. I don't know.
These ramps go right to the door right now, and I don't know if, do all public housing buildings have to, it is ADA compliant, the way it handles right now. And they are definitely an improvement as opposed to the plywood ramps with the rails.
I agree that it's an upgrade and they are compliant. I think the challenge is for those that need assistance, they have walkers and whatever. I'd probably like to try to into one of those ramps myself with the walker and see physically how easy that is to access the door, Tend to think it's a little bit difficult, confined space,
Are some of Commissioner Burrows, are the people who have walkers and the new aluminum metal ramps, do they have automatic door openers?
I don't believe all the buildings do.
No.
Oh, okay. Of course, even with the automatic door opener, from myself in my building, it's doesn't always work. I could have my cart filled with several pounds of groceries or laundry and press that door opener and it's not working. So I have to walk up the ramp and open the door myself and then go back and get my cart and pull it up with me. But like I said, it's just an adjustment. It's much better than the plywood ramp.
Yeah, I will say, Pamela, particularly in your unit, my nephew was in that unit when the wooden ramp was there, and he was in a wheelchair, and he found it very, very difficult to even go up the wooden ramp. So, and that was full width. So if you reduce that width of that ramp and make it narrower, it's going to even be more difficult. So, they're not ideal, but they are an upgrade. They are an upgrade. So. There's no complaint there. Thank you.
I had a question, Kathy. What room are they using for the service coordinator?
The hobby room that
Okay.
we discussed at one of the other meetings.
All right. Yeah, I was just wondering if that's how it played out.
Yes, yes.
And Kathy, I was thinking about that too, in terms of this opening the COVID, you're really going to have your hands full with signage and like I said, the floodgates opening and what your responsibilities are. So I would be anxious to find out, watch TV and or go to the DHCD website. What would you suggest so I can keep up to date on all of the changes?
I can forward you any of the public housing notices that come out regarding that, Pam. When I receive them through email, I can forward it to you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You might want to forward her the link that gets her right into all the public
housing notices,
and
yes.
then she can just check them all the time for everything for
Oh boy.
20 years.
Fun reading.
Careful what you ask for.
Are there any more questions on the executive director's report?
I had a question on the vacancies. Are most of these second floor units that are vacant?
No, not really. No, we have a few.
So it's a combination, first and second?
Yes, it is definitely a combination. The issue again is Champ, so.
Okay.
Kathy, any luck with Eisenhower Drive? And now I see you have Day Street just to add to your job.
Yes, we just, no luck yet. Again, we're still screening. 75 people takes a lot of time. And on the first pulled list, it didn't go. And part of the screening on this one will be for 50 Day Street as well.
What's the overall condition of Day Street? Is that okay? Is it in decent
Yes,
shape?
it's in very good condition. Yeah, maintenance is already in there. It'll probably be done very soon.
And do you have any ideas for the Eagle Scout? I thought we had one several years ago, was gonna do some work on the gazebo or something, I recall, but I don't know if that ever came.
We had the inmates do that. We actually talked about possibly having him paint all the front doors at Parker Terrace. It's only one Eagle Scout apparently. So we're gonna meet with the family and see what this Eagle Scout is capable of and take it from there.
Excellent.
I have a question, Kathy. We're going to miss Jane. I know she was a valuable asset to the team.
Yes.
With this opening, COVID restrictions being relaxed and dropped, are you going to be able to manage with just 3?
Well, we'll hire that position out. It's a 18-hour-a-week position. So we will go out to hire maybe during the summer. We can get a temp in here to help out. It's just pretty much most of that work now in that position is the mailings for Champ and helping mail out recertifications and just open mail and things of that nature, answer the phones. So it's not a lot of training. But with everything else, maybe we can hire a temp for the interim and then look into hiring somebody to fill that position permanently.
I'd like to volunteer for stamping and sealing envelopes, or folding and stuffing envelopes. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but I'd like to just volunteer my time. And also,
Unfortunately, a lot of that has pertinent information for applicants on the wait list, Pam. I appreciate that, but I don't think that that's allowable because that's the majority of that work.
And how about your maintenance staff? Again, like I said, I'm concerned with all that you're going to have to do with this opening.
We actually have a lot of the signage already up. We had done that prior to this. It was in the community rooms. We've, done a lot of that legwork already. So I don't know. And they've been continually cleaning the community room because, well, the Elite Circle one never really shut down because it was connected to the laundry facility for Parker Terrace because the Meals on Wheels people are in and out. Maintenance has been cleaning that room daily anyhow. So I don't think there will be much of an impact difference on them.
Proactive, good. Are there any further questions on the executive director's report?
I'm all set, thanks.
The next agenda item is questions or concerns, and during the meeting we had a couple of residents call in by phone, but they seem to have left. So are there any other questions or concerns by the board?
All set, thanks.
I'm good.
Tom, I have to ask, were the mosquitoes starting to bite?
No, my battery was running out. I was down to 5%. I had to come and plug in.
Yeah, I liked your other background much better.
Yeah. This is, I'm sitting there, the floor is wet. This is where the flood was.
Oh, jeez. Hope you have your
Fine
boots
weather.
on.
So next, what we should do is schedule for our next meeting in June. And we have, the Tuesdays in June are June 1st, June 8th, June 15th. Kathy, do you have a preference?
Typically, we do the second Tuesday in the month, Pam.
Mhm. And that wouldn't be a problem for you if we do June 8th? That only gives you 8 days for that. Well, basically 5 days instead of.
June 8th is great because it's before the emergency ends. We could do it this way again if you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Fine.
I'm sorry, Kathy?
The 8th is fine.
Okay, is the 8th okay with the rest of the board?
It's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next meeting of the Easton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners will be Tuesday, June 8th. Have I forgotten anything? I will entertain a motion to adjourn. It is.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Chris Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy to adjourn the meeting at 6:32 p.m. Do a roll call vote. Commissioner Tom Tebow?
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows?
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Sheedy?
Yes.
Kathy, okay? Kathy Steiger?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and Chair Widdop says yes, so it's unanimous and the meeting is now adjourned. Have a wonderful month, everyone.
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
you too.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.